Barry, you grew out your Roger stash again. That can only mean one thing. I remembered to put the damn Harry Potter book in the background this time. That's what that means. Hey everybody, how you doing? Quick thing, the chapter review, chapter 969, giggity, will be out tomorrow, Sunday, alongside the official release. Last week with 968, when I read it, that one translation, I was like, alright, there's a few issues with the translation, but by and large, I felt like it touched upon all the major parts of the chapter, and it did. This one, I'm having a lot more questions and like a few things that need clarified, so I decided just to hold back for the Viz release for this one, so that'll be out tomorrow on Sunday. So today, though, I give you in exchange a video on the Oro Jackson, the ship of the Pirate King himself. Say it with me now, ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget to throttle that R. Goldie Roger! Ah, yes, let me tell you, if there ever was a king of the ships that ever did sail the Grand Line, the New World, the Calm Belts, and all four blues, it was the Oro Jackson, let me tell you. Oro means gold in Spanish and Italian, from what I've heard. So you see what we're doing here? You know, Goldie Roger, Gold Roger, it's gold. Oro means gold. And Jackson, of course, I don't know where the Jackson comes from. I'm thinking maybe that's just because Oda is a big fan of Samuel L. Jackson, and, you know... Now I'm picturing Samuel L. Jackson in the One Piece world, and that, in and of itself, is pretty damn awesome, right? So, yeah, that might have been the reference there. It's like, ah, crap, we're going up against Eneru and Lucci and Crocodile, and they're all coming after us. Luffy has to bring on Samuel L. Jackson as the final crew member, and he just, oh, it's a bloodbath, okay? All right, so anyway, talking about the Oro Jackson today, some things that we found out from the little flashback we just got through. Well, we're still in the flashback right now, but we're kind of done with Roger's little part of that flashback. We're moving on to Odin's, like, return to Wano, but some interesting things. Okay, so the Oro Jackson, we all know, has been created by Tom, who was a fisherman at Water 7. He was the mentor to Iceberg and Frankie, or Cutty Flam, as he was known back in the day. We're probably going to get an actual flashback focusing mainly on Roger's younger years, because this flashback with Odin was mostly focusing on Roger's, like, you know, his final journey, because that's the part that Odin was, you know, involved with. Later on in the story, when we're going to get closer to Laugh Tale, Oda's probably going to give us, like, okay, this was Goldie Roger when he was just a little kid, and when he was in, like, here's the thing, what inspired Roger to go out to sea? Roger was the inspiration for an entire generation to set out to sea. You know, Roger inspired Shanks to go out to sea, and Shanks in turn inspired Luffy to set out to sea with the Straw Hat Pirates. But what was the thing? What was the X factor back in Roger's childhood that made him, you know, set out to sea with a Jolly Roger and stuff? Like the Jolly Roger, I don't know if you know this, the Jolly Roger in the context of One Piece is given that name because of Roger. And this is even before the era of Rocks, really, because Rocks' era, I think, was like, you know, 50-something years ago, or to 40 years ago. 38 was when he finally, you know, got defeated at God Valley. We don't know what's up with Rocks. But I'm talking like Roger, probably like when he was just a little kid. I don't think the Rocks crew was really going crazy, you know, 70 years ago, because Roger would be like 77. So like when Roger was like a little kid, there was probably something that inspired him, right? But we don't know about that yet, but we'll probably see. And during that flashback, we'll also get to see Roger going to Water 7 for the first time, meeting Tom, you know, making a friendship, and then Tom agreeing to, like, I'll build you a ship with a dawn, with the gusto, right? Here's the thing, the Oro Jackson is made out of atom wood, which is like the best damn wood that you could possibly find in the One Piece world, okay? It's, you know, related to the mother tree Eve that provides the sunlight at Fishman Island. Then you have the atom wood tree. There was apparently this tree that existed in this war-torn country a long time ago, and even after this massive war where there's like shellings and bombings all over the place, this tree still stood strong and tall. So this tree was the atom tree, well known throughout the world for like the strongest wood that you could possibly get to build a ship with, okay? Frankie ended up getting some atom wood on the black market because he was the head of the Frankie family, which was like the mafia of Water 7. So he went through like illicit means to get his hand on that sweet, sweet atom wood. But I wonder how Tom got his hands on it. Now, Tom, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would go, you know, in the black market and do those kind of dealings, but who knows? Maybe he did. Also, though, Tom probably had a lot more connections in the shipbuilding community. You know, Frankie was more of a ship dismantler at that point in the story, and so he went through like the black market and stuff. But Tom, maybe he stumbled upon an island that had the atomwood tree, like maybe the original island where that massive war took place. Maybe Tom was there, or he went there and he found the actual tree, and he took the wood from the tree and brought it back, and that's what he made the Oroh Jackson out of. So that's something interesting, exactly where he got the material, right? The Oroh Jackson itself looks damn fine ship, I'd say, for the King of the Pirates. The figurehead are two busty mermaids holding a cannon. So yeah, I'm sure, you know, Roger was on the right track there. He's like, "Aye, Tom, let me tell you, you're the finest shipwright I ever did see. I want you to build me a ship." "Okay, Roger, I'll build you a ship. All right, here are my specifications. I want them to have a giant cannon, like the biggest cannon you've ever seen, sticking out of the front of this damn thing." I can do that with a dawn. I also want two busty mermaids to be holding it up." Okay, I could do that too, but isn't that kind of on the nose, a little bit sexually? Yeah, I know, I'm Goldie Roger, I can do whatever, let's do this. Tom's like, "All right, let's do this." So he built that. It's a pretty damn big ship. Roger's crew was a lot bigger than, like, the Straw Hats, and even the Sunny is probably a lot bigger than you originally think it was. The Sunny itself is way big. The Mary, comparably, was pretty tiny, but yeah, Roger's ship was like a galleon. That thing was freaking huge. Then, of course, you have kind of the elephant in the room, or the giant Yoshi dragon egg in the room, because whenever we do see the Oroh Jackson, we see a giant Yoshi dragon egg just hanging out on the deck. I'm assuming, I mean, it's been thrown out there, maybe that's actually part of the ship. To be fair, we don't really know. I guess it could be, but I think the prevailing theory is no, that's an egg that Roger's crew picked up somewhere, and it was about to hatch, or it might have been a while for it to hatch, and they didn't want to just leave it wherever they found it, so they took it with them and put it on their deck, and it's like, whenever it hatches, it'll be right here, and they set out to sea through the Grand Line with the damn thing. I already made a whole video about the egg, and my theories on the egg. Could be a dragon egg, could be related to one of the ancient weapons. I will say this, and this is something we did just find out in the flashback. It was popularly believed that the Oroh Jackson was, you know, docked at Laughtail. That was something that was just like, okay, the Roger Pirates found Laughtail, and they found what the One Piece was. They probably left some stuff of their own, like some of their own treasure there, and then they left. But the idea is they left at least the Oroh Jackson, or maybe even just the Yoshi egg on the island, you know, and then that's where the Oroh Jackson is currently at. But we see that that's not the case. Whenever Roger went to Laughtail, they leave with the Oroh Jackson, and you still see the egg on the deck of the Oroh Jackson as they're sailing away from Laughtail. So unless Oda decides to retcon that at some point and like, oh, damn it, I screwed up, that's not supposed to be there. Unless that happens, then no, the egg is not at Laughtail. The egg is still probably on the deck of the Oroh Jackson, provided it hasn't hatched by now, because this was like 25 years ago, keep in mind. So wherever the Oroh Jackson happens to be right now, that's probably where we're gonna find the egg, or the remains of the egg, okay? Now, something else that was interesting is, after the Oroh Jackson and the Roger crew left Laughtail, Roger decided to disband the crew, and then he decided to leave. As in, he left the Oroh Jackson. Like, Crocus gave him a bunch of medicine. He grabbed his stuff, threw it in like a sack. He threw it over his shoulder like he's just going off wandering like a drifter. And he's like, "Aye, mateys, it's been fun. Later." You know, like, because this is the last time Roger's gonna actually see his crew. He you know, gives a tearful goodbye to Rayleigh, or Rayleigh's crying, and he's just like, this is something that I didn't realize at first when I did the review, but I went back and checked, and there were some people that brought it up, and the way that Rayleigh described Roger's last words to him at Sabaody when they first, you know, when the Straw Hats first met Rayleigh, Rayleigh said that Roger said, "Even if they kill me, I won't die." And so that was probably the thing that Roger told Rayleigh right here in this scene, where it's also looking like Roger passes over his captain hat over to Rayleigh, because Roger's leaving the Oro Jackson to Rayleigh and all the other crew. They take the Oro Jackson without Roger to sail like Odin back to Wano. So yeah, so Roger actually, up until like the moment he was executed, did probably not know about the current location of the Oro Jackson. He effectively passed the captain, because you still need a captain. You still need somebody on the ship to give orders like, you know, hoist the mainsail. Come on, you swabs, let's do this. There has to be still somebody on the ship in order for it to be, steered in the proper direction and all that stuff. So Roger effectively made Rayleigh the captain when he gave him the hat, and he's like, all right, well, I'm leaving now, so somebody else has to steer the damn thing, right? Or direct it around, right? So Roger leaves, Rayleigh takes over, they drop Odin off at Wano. I'm assuming they just also went around the world dropping off the various members of the Roger crew, like, Scopper, where do you want to go? And be like, well, don't have much family left. Tell you what I want to do, Rayleigh. I've always wanted to be a sheep herder. A sheep herder. Yeah, a sheep herder. I'm tired of holding these giant double axes, and slaughtering people. Take me to the East Blue, drop me off on some random patch of farmland, and I think I'm going to shave my head, and I'm going to pick up smoking, and I'm just going to be a sheep herder for the rest of my days. Rayleigh's like, damn straight, Scopper Gabon. Damn straight. And he drops him off in the East Blue. Yeah, that this is probably not Scopper, but could be. I don't know. Don't ask me, right? And so they went around the world, like, dropping off various members of the Roger crew. But here's the thing. That's a really big ship, the Oro Jackson, okay? You can't, like, captain a ship like that. You can't steer that to certain places without at least a couple of hands to help you, right? It's not like this can be like, they go around the world dropping off people, various, locations, and then it's just Rayleigh. Just Rayleigh all by him's lonesome, sailing the Oro Jackson like, and he passes by Brooke, and he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Brooke's humming it too. He's like, oh, did your crew leave too? I'm like, yup. I'm like, oh, that sucks, right? Yeah, I know. All right, I'm just passing through. All right, goodbye. No, he needs like a couple of people to help him out, right? So what I'm thinking probably happened here, the most likely thing to happen, yeah, they dropped off Odin, they dropped off a few other members, but there were still quite a few members aboard the Oro Jackson just to kind of get it somewhere. And then they were like, all right, here's what we're going to do. With the minimal crew that we have left, we're going to find a safe place to put the Oro Jackson, a place that the Marines and the world government would never find it, okay? And they've been traveling, like Rayleigh particularly, he's been traveling with Roger since like day one, so he would be just as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable than Roger about all these locations in the world that they've found. I'm sure there's been at least one moment in their past, one moment on their journey, where they've encountered an island that was out in the middle of nowhere with like maybe a cave or something, like, oh man, this is really hidden. You could hide something here for 1,000 years and no one would even think to find it. Maybe something like that. So like, all right, we're going to take the minimal crew that we have left, sail to that island, find this hiding space. I'm imagining it's some type of subterranean cave. That's what I'm picturing in my head. You wouldn't just leave it docked. Like, even if it's like a big island with like an inlet or a fjord or something where you can sail inward and just dock it there. Especially since like any maritime sailor will know, especially since we're talking about a wooden ship here. I mean, I know it's made out of atom wood, but that doesn't make it anything. Like, if you're going to store a ship long term, like for several decades, you probably should get it out of the water into like a dry dock. You know what I mean? Like, you probably shouldn't just leave it bobbing in the water for 25 years, right? And even Frankie did say about the atom wood, he's like, it doesn't matter what your ship is made out of, unless you have a proper shipwright or team of shipwrights to actually care for it, it's eventually going to get worn down. So yeah, atom wood is very strong, very resilient. It can handle the impact of like the air pressure whenever the sunny goes coup de burst into the atmosphere. Yeah, it can handle that damage. It has a little bit of fire resistance and like pressure resistance, but it's not indestructible. Like, it can still be destroyed, right? Like, perfect example, when Big Mom crashed on the ship, she was like ripping up the ship, like looking inside of it, and without much resilience from from the atom wood, all right? The atom wood will help a little bit, but not by much, right? So the smart thing to do would be like, all right, let's find some sort of cavern, some sort of cave that's on an island that's really well hidden, maybe even on the calm belt. That would probably be the safest place for it. Either in one of the furthest reaches of the one of the four blues, or in the calm belt where not a lot of people fear to tread, and then just go take it into this cave and then bring it up on like the shore of the cave in the subterranean area, and then just make sure it's secured, make sure it's all prepared and like preserved so it doesn't get like, you know, ravaged by time as best as possible. And at that point, Rayleigh probably and the rest of the crew, they looked at it and like, well, Tom's vessel, you've carried us a long way. We care about you. But, you know, we can't take you with us anymore. You're just too damn big to handle. You know, the crew's dissipating. The days of the Roger pirates have ended. But we don't also... I mean, it's not like a damaged ship. You don't want to, like, burn the damn thing, right? Like, you don't want to... It's not quite dead yet. You know, it's a fine ship. It's like Tom's masterpiece. So it's like, well, we can't sail it anymore, but we also cannot destroy it. So we got to leave it somewhere. So we're going to leave it here. Don't worry. No one will find you here. And they'll preserve it as much as possible. And then they take like another ship, another vessel to leave that island, and then they just all go their separate ways at that point. Rayleigh ends up at Sabaody. I was thinking, considering Rayleigh set up his permanent residence at the Sabaody archipelago, maybe the Oro Jackson is docked somewhere in Sabaody, like in the Lawless area, but for 25 years, like, and considering the Lawless area, yeah, the Marines and the world government don't go in there too much, but there's bounty hunters and pirates just scouring that place. So, like, there's no way you could just dock the Oro Jackson like, oh, it's over at Grove 4. Like, oh, didn't notice it this whole time. Like, no, so it's probably not at Sabaody. I only brought that up because, well, Rayleigh was staying at Sabaody, so that would make sense that he would, like, stand guard over the ship, right? Although, we know how much of a badass Rayleigh is, where he can just, like, swim through the calm belt whenever he wants. So, let's say that, the Oro Jackson is not docked at Sabaody, but it's docked at an island near Sabaody. Or in the calm belt near Sabaody archipelago. And so then Rayleigh could just, like, leave the Sabaody archipelago whenever he wanted and just, like, sail or just, like, swim into the calm belt and, like, just check on it. And I'm sure he probably does that. In fact, I can see Rayleigh, like, on the anniversary day of, like, Roger's death every year, you know, he decides to leave the archipelago, and Shocky's like, where are you going, Ray, dear? He's like, you know, I'm just going to spend some time with my captain. And he grabs a big thing of whiskey or, like, you know, he's like some gin or something, and he just leaves the island, and he goes to wherever the Oro Jackson is, and he just sits on it, just empty. It's just quiet in this cave where they docked it. It's just nobody's around, and he just sits there, and he just... And he just sits there and just remembers the good old days and remembers Roger. All right, and it's like Roger's on deck with him, and he's like, you're getting gray in the hair there, old Rayleigh. He's like, yeah, you bastard. You died before you can get old, you know? So I could actually, that's like a really, like, beautiful moment, right? Okay. So, if it's somewhere hidden, right, would the Straw Hats ever come across it? Now, in particular, Frankie, because Frankie, you know, Tom was his mentor and basically his father figure. So I would really like to see Frankie come across the Oro Jackson at some point just to, like, admire it and maybe take some lessons from Tom. Like, oh, this is Tom's masterpiece. I'm going to study this. And he's studying the Oro Jackson and learning about all the stuff. Oh, I can't believe Tom installed this here. He did this. Or, wow, this hoisting mechanism. I don't know anything about ships. This hoisting mechanism is, like, top of the line. This is more ingenious than anything I could have thought of, or even Iceberg, right? And so maybe Frankie would, like, study the Oro Jackson, learn some stuff about it, and then, like, incorporate that into the Sunny, or something along those lines, right? So that would be cool. I really want Frankie to come across it. It would basically have to be hidden somewhere in the New World, though, for that to work, because the Straw Hats are in the New World right now, right? Yeah, I'm not going to go into too much great tale on the egg. I know the egg is like, what about the egg? I'm like, I made a video about the egg, so go check out the egg. The egg is either still there, or it's already hatched, or, you know, the Straw Hats are going to hatch it, or it's an ancient weapon, whatever. A lot of people have thrown out the idea that the Oro Jackson is Pluton, right? Or perhaps this. It's been stated that Pluton is a battleship. We know that because we saw the blueprints. Well, we didn't see the blueprints, but the blueprints exist. Like, Frankie had the blueprints for a ship. I guess the idea is maybe Pluton is one part a ship, and the other part of some biological thing that you have to add to the ship. Keeping in mind that Poseidon is not an actual weapon like a physical tool that you pick up and use. Poseidon is a mermaid, a living creature. That's a weird way to call Shirahoshi. A living maiden that can command the Sea Kings to do her bidding. Okay? So maybe it's like Pluton is, yeah, you make a particular ship with these kind of specifications, but then you add this egg to it for it to and then the egg hatches and becomes a giant dragon or a wyvern or something, and then boom, then you have the true Pluton. But I don't think that's the case, because I don't like to think, because the idea is like, well, Tom had the blueprints for Pluton, maybe he built Pluton into the Oro Jackson. That doesn't seem likely to me, because that really doesn't seem like something Tom would do. That seems like, okay, these blueprints are for an ancient weapon that have been passed down through the histories of Water 7, all of these great shipwrights that have had this. This is literally a battleship that if this was built, it could end the world. And they're passing it down from shipwright to shipwright to shipwright as like, okay, you trust it as an engineer, how dangerous these plans are. And then Tom finally gets his hands on it, and then Roger shows up. It's like, hi there, I'm looking for a marvelous shipwright to build me a vessel. And Tom is like, oh, you want a vessel? I'll build you a damn nice vessel. The first thing he does is take out the Pluton blueprints and Pluton blueprints, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna build you a world-destroying super weapon. You know why? Because I like your mustache. I don't think Tom would have done that. I don't even think Tom would have screwed with that. I don't even think he would have it's like, well, there's this pretty cool weapon that's on Pluton. Maybe if I just put that on the Oro Jackson. No, I don't think we're going to have anything like that, all right? I think the Pluton is a separate battleship stored away somewhere in the world, and we don't know where that is. In the Oro Jackson, it might come into play later on, or at the very least, the egg is definitely going to come into play. Even if it's like the Straw Hats come across a giant dragon at some point, and this is like an actual true dragon. This isn't like a dragon that lived, on Punk Hazard that Vegapunk created artificially. This is like an actual Dungeons and Dragons dragon, like an ancient, like, gold dragon or something that can actually communicate and is actually an intelligent being, okay? And it's like, yes, I was part of an island, ravaged by war. The Roger pirates took my egg, and I was hatched, and I was the last of my kind, or something like that. I could see that maybe going down, and the Straw Hats come across the dragon, or whatever the hell was in the egg. But for the actual Oro Jackson appearing in the story, I would like Frankie to see it, but I think there is a way you could do this, without having the Oro Jackson be present, like the Straw Hats running across it. It's not like that. It's not like that needs to happen in order for One Piece to, the One Piece story doesn't make any sense unless the Straw Hats come across the Oro Jackson. I mean, it kind of does even without that, but it'd be cool. All right, well, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Look forward to the review 969. That'll be out tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking signing out. Give me that mustache, Barry. I am not worthy of the mustache. Power Morpher! Mustache power! Do. Mustache Rangers. That's gonna be the next season of Power Rangers. I'd watch it.